To Tokyo now, where U.S. swimmer Ryan Murphy is generating some controversy with comments that he made after his last race at the Olympic Games. Murphy took home silver in the men's 200-meter backstroke. In an interview following that race, though, he said that his races were probably not clean. The comment came after he lost gold to a Russian swimmer. Jamie Yuccas joins us now from Tokyo with more on this and other news coming out of the Games. So, Jamie, Olympic swimmer Ryan Murphy sort of took aim at the Russian swimmers, not directly, but they did beat him in two of the events, and he suggested that maybe, the sport needs to be cleaned up a bit. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, I do want to point out he didn't specifically go after that swimmer who was sitting just feet away from him at that press conference, and he didn't specifically go after the Russian Olympic Committee team. Specifically. However, it was insinuated that was what he was talking about because the Russian Olympic Committee, as we're calling it, is the team of Russians. There's more than 350 athletes here from Russia, but of course we can't say they're from Russia because of a doping scandal that happened, and there are sanctions on the team itself. So these are people, athletes who have been able to come in who were supposedly not part of that doping scandal. But what Ryan Murphy's insinuating is that they don't know for sure that everyone in the sport is clean, and he believes that more testing needed to be done ahead of this. There has been some discussion in the swimming world that with the pandemic, there wasn't quite as much testing done for doping just because people couldn't get out to people's homes. We've heard this also in track and field as well, that there's certain rural areas in the world where people couldn't get out to test these athletes simply because the pandemic was keeping people at home. This seems to be a case. He said right after the race that he had 15 thoughts and 13 of them would get him in trouble. It seems that this is causing a firestorm and people are definitely talking about it. He, after the race, when people said, it seems like you were not giving the Russian swimmer his due, he's quickly said, no, I give him his due. I didn't mean any harm toward him specifically, but it was insinuated, and I think that's what everybody's going to be talking about moving forward is what did he specifically mean? I think he is going to have to come out and try to clarify some of these comments as we continue to see swimmers get in the pool.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to go away quickly. In the meantime, 18-year-old gymnast Suny Lee won gold in the all-around category after Simone Biles withdrew earlier this week over mental health concerns. You had a chance to talk to her family. They must have been elated. What was their reaction?
I have to say, I talked to her dad, John Lee, who is just the sweetest. They have such a wonderful bond, the two of them. When she was just a little girl, he built her a balance beam in the backyard because he couldn't afford one with a 2x4 and an air mattress so that she could practice. And he has always been supportive of her. They immediately, when she won, the first thing she did is she pulled up FaceTime and called her family. We have some video. More than 300 people showed up in St. Paul, Minnesota to watch her win. And you can see in that video they were simply elated, as anyone would be. But, this is one of those moments when I talked to John Lee. He said, he was actually nervous when Simone Biles pulled out that because she's really the leader of the team, and he didn't know how it would impact not only his daughter but the other women. And he just said how proud he was that all the women stepped up, including his daughter. He also is so proud that she's not only representing America, but she's representing the Hmong community. And the Hmong community is a community that had to come from Laos. They helped us, the United States helped fight in the Vietnam War, and then essentially was left behind. So many of them became refugees, including Suny Lee's grandparents, to Minnesota. Specifically, there's a large population in the state of Minnesota of Hmong. So people really embracing and celebrating that as well, that she is one of the first, she's the first Hmong gold medal winner in the Olympics.
I love it. Love that story. In the meantime, the coronavirus state of emergency in Tokyo has been expanded to neighboring areas because, the cases keep popping up. Any of the protocols affecting the games in any way?
Well, what I can tell you is that there's really been a push in the last couple of days, from what I've been reading, to try to get young people vaccinated. That people in their 20s and 30s are really driving the spread of the virus. And what we've heard is that there are a number of restaurant and bar establishments here in Japan, in Tokyo specifically, in the cities. You know, they've been asked for the last 18 months to close down at 8 p.m., to not serve alcohol, and that is part of the state of emergency. So this is their fourth state of emergency. So over the last 18 months, they on and off have had to close down. And now these bars and restaurants, from what we're hearing and what we're reading in some of the local newspapers, is that they're refusing to do that. They've taken a huge economic hit. The Olympics are going on. They're allowing people to come in and eat and drink alcohol. And so that seems to be driving, because it's younger people who are going to those establishments. So it sounds like, you know, the government here in Japan is really pushing, asking people to watch the Olympics at home. Don't go to these events. Don't go to restaurants or bars. Try to stay away from your extended family and friends. Watch by yourself at home, you know, in your bubble, because really the cases have exploded here, and they really do have to try to contain it. Now, they did think that the height of this would happen August 3rd. I think people watching this slow increase day by day, you know, we went from 2,700 cases just a couple days ago to now 3,800 cases today just in Tokyo alone. So people keeping a close eye on that, and having to then watch the hospital system and see what it does here in Japan.
Yeah, all concerning stuff. Jamie Yuccas, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.